Did you know that you control your happiness dial? The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. As women, we have devoted our lives to taking care of others. We've planned the events. We've scheduled the appointments. We've scheduled the fun activities. We do this for very different reasons often. Some of us want to be the fun mom. Some of us want to be the mom who exposes their children to well-rounded topics. And some of us just want to stuff as many experiences in the small amount of time that we have. Time moves fast. People grow up quickly. We do things just to entertain our loved ones. Oftentimes we make choices and schedule events around our family's interests and topics. And oftentimes we do this to have fun. We do this to pass time. We do this to interact as a family and have shared experiences. We create joy by seeing our family happy and joyful. This joy is a very different type of joy, though, because our joy is dependent upon our family being happy, our family being present in our lives, and our family being there. But eventually, our kids grow up. Eventually, we may not share the same interest as our spouse. And after years of devoting all of our time and energy into creating events and activities for other people, we are often left searching for our own joy. We're often left looking around, thinking, what am I going to do now? What makes me happy? Giving our time and energy to our loved ones seems so harmless, and it seems like such an act of love. We don't really think about how much time we invest in our loved ones for the hope of creating a happy, harmonious family. And it's not until 20, 25 years down the path, when our kids have grown, they have their own lives, that we look around and realize we have lost sight of ourselves, we've lost sight of who we are, and we've lost sight of what makes us happy. We don't even realize what's happening. We don't even realize that we're actually losing touch with ourselves. It can be really difficult to balance the needs of the family and to prioritize our own needs, our own sense of identity, our own happiness. Women will often say, well, my family brings me joy. My family brings me happiness. And while that does sound great when they're small and completely dependent upon you, but as our children grow, they become autonomous, they become independent, and we're left looking around wondering, what brings me joy? What brings me happiness? There is this misconception that women who prioritize their own individuality, their own happiness, are often perceived as selfish. But how can we shift that conversation? Isn't it important to show our children that me as a woman, as a mother, it's important for me to continue to explore my happiness, to invest time and energy into my health and well-being and my identity? So many of us have invested so much time into a career, into a role as mother, as wife, as nurturer. And when we reach midlife, things change. Our children no longer need us as much. There isn't as much to schedule. Our partners shift and change. The needs of everyone change, including ourselves. And oftentimes when we have spent the majority of our adult life investing into other people, We don't know how to invest in ourselves. We don't know how to make ourselves happy. And how do we reconnect with that in us? How do we reconnect with the simple pleasures, with our hobbies, with our passions? How do we reconnect with that? If I was having a conversation with the younger version of myself, I would encourage her to continue to pursue the things that make you happy. Don't lose that. Don't lose sight of that, because that's what we do. We take on an identity that's solely based on the happiness of our family. We are like the cruise director of the Love Boat, that we have planned all of these schedules and these events and these activities. And oftentimes, our happiness is derived on how happy everyone else is during the participation, during the process, during the event. And if that happens to go in a bad direction, we often feel responsible for it. Once we've lost ourselves, there's often this fear to re-engage with society, re-engage with groups and activities. We're afraid to show up. It is never too late to start over. It is never too late to discover. I know when I was going through a period where I was really searching for myself, I was being encouraged to go back to the young version of myself, the 5-year-old who didn't see any danger, who just wanted to explore. And I was encouraged to try to tap into that small child within me, that innocence, that exploration. And while some of that I do agree with, a lot of it I don't, because we just evolve and change as we age. A good example of that is my palate. I eat foods that the 5-year-old version of me would never even think about trying. And that we grow and we develop and we change. And our body changes, our interest changes. We become exposed to things that we never could have imagined. Our happiness is solely dependent upon ourselves. We're in charge of the happiness dial. We can turn the volume up, and we can certainly turn the volume down. And I know a lot of us have been walking around with that happiness dial turned down. The gauge of happiness in our life has become dependent upon how happy is everyone else around us. And if everyone else around us isn't happy, then I can't be happy. This is a way of thinking that has led a lot of us to our midlife, looking around, wondering what has happened. I devoted my life to these people, and now they're grown up, they're individuals, they're living their own life, and I am trying to create a new reality. There are so many hats that we as women wear. We wear a mother hat, we wear a sister, we wear a friend, we wear a partner, we have our career hats, and we wear all of these hats and we interchange them so many times throughout the day, depending on where we're at. At this point in my life, I am being required by my higher self, by the greater part of me that's not visible, to simply wear a hat that states Tracy. That I am no longer playing these roles. I am no longer showing up in a uniform representing someone else's team. I am now on Team Tracy. I am here playing the game and the rules, and I'm living by the rules that support me and my interest and my happiness and my joy. My happiness is no longer dependent upon how happy everyone else in the family is. For so long, we have created this identity that we can only be happy when the family's happy. We can only be happy when the spouse is happy. We can only be happy when work is thriving. That is simply untrue. We can be happy when everything around us seems like it's falling down, because happiness is our choice and happiness is our birthright. We are the only ones that have the power to make ourselves happy. From now on, it's Team Tracy. What does Tracy want in her life? What does Tracy need in her life? I have the power to turn up the volume on my happiness. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.